Hello and welcome to a friendly chat. After postponing this video for a week, I'm back onto it. So tonight we're talking about Christmas movies and what sort of movies generally end up in my rotation for this time of the year. And some movies people go, well, that's definitely a Christmas movie, and other people will go, well, that's a movie set at Christmas, not necessarily a Christmas film. And there's lots of people who'll argue for some of these films. Uh, but I don't differentiate between movies set at Christmas and Christmas films in general because me personally, I find it hard to watch a movie set at Christmas in July or even January for that matter. So I generally hold off on rewatching movies set in that time of the year for this time of the year. So I have a nice little laundry list of different sorts of films which I'd like to go through with you. And I'm sure most of these won't be a surprise to people. They'll be go, yeah, of course, everyone does that. It's like, sure, everyone does do that, but that's not a reason not to do it. So let us begin, shall we?
And now the news. Don't touch that dial.
So the first movie on the list is 1983's Trading Places, which is a great comedy starring Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, Demhold Elliott, Don Ameche, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and Paul Gleason's in there too, from another movie that'll be on my list in a little bit. It is one that people will argue it's not a Christmas movie; it just happens to have Christmas in it, and honestly, I don't really care. As I said, I find it hard to watch movies set at this time period in other months of the year. It's like I can't watch it around Easter. I won't watch it in July. It's like it's a December film. So and it goes all the way through till early January because it goes through New Year's Eve and all that too. So it covers a nice little chunk of the end of the year. It's a great story of basically two characters that are forced um, into a bet by the whims of two evil rich pricks, basically. Um, and yes, they destroy one Dan Aykroyd's life while replacing him with Eddie Murphy, just to prove a point that it doesn't matter how you brought up if you have a leg up in any way, shape, or form, you will succeed. So nature versus nurture doesn't really matter. So it is a a fish out of water, I suppose you can call it, but it does mold into a revenge story as well, but not like like John Wick, but more of um, the best way to get revenge against rich people is to make them poor. So yeah, that's their overall plan, and it's a very fun movie. It's got a lot going for it. Eddie Murphy was just off SNL, I believe, and they didn't originally want him because they didn't think he was bankable at that point. But I believe Dan Aykroyd argued for him, and because I think they initially wanted it to be another Dan Aykroyd and Belushi film, but but that was not on the cards. But honestly, they got the right people for it. Eddie Murphy is fantastic, firing all cylinders. He plays a really good, panhandling huckster early on, but he's completely believable when he is in the suit and doing the corporate um, the corporate life. Like you do buy him as that. Like he's very charming and he's very smart. Like he is street smart, but he knows what people want and how to deal with it, and it's very well done. Uh, Early on, Dan Aykroyd, you just want to slap him because he's just so superior with his like wealth and station in life, and you're just like people like that. You do want to hit just to wake them up. Just go. You're not better than anyone. Just deal with it. But Jamie Lee Curtis is fantastic as Ophelia. Demhold Elliott is brilliant as Dan Aykroyd's butler, and he becomes Eddie Murphy's butler, of course. Paul Gleason is an absolute prick, but he plays that so well in everything he's in, when he has to play that role. And yeah, and Demhold Elliott, not Demhold Elliott, Don Amici, and someone Bellamy. I always have trouble. Ralph Bellamy. Sorry, I had to quickly look that up. Are the two brothers, Duke and Duke brothers, and they're really good at it. Like, you just like look at it and go, yeah, I totally buy that you're scumbags, and the only thing you care about is money, and you'll grind everybody into the ground to get it. So yeah, but as I said, it is set at this time of year, so I count it as part of my Christmas viewing. I do love it. It's just a good classic comedy, and yeah, so that's number one on my list. This list isn't in order of what I think's the best film versus what I think's the worst film. It's just I'm doing it in order of release date. So 1983, Trading Places. So yeah. So next on my list, another comedy, is 1985's Better Off Dead. It is another movie that people will go, is that a Christmas film? It's like, well, Christmas is in it. It's a nice chunk of it. It does once again go Christmas, New Year sort of thing. But it is a fantastic, crazy comedy from Savage Steve Holland, who is a really great animator. He did a lot of good animation. He did a show in the 1990s called Eek the Cat. I always have to enunciate that a bit better because people say, did you say eat the cat? And it's like eek, as in W-E-K, like eek. And that cartoon is freaking fantastic. It is so funny. It's got so many references to pop culture and stuff like that, but not relevant to what we're talking about. He also, I believe, did One Crazy Summer as well, which also stars John Cusack. So John Cusack plays Lane Meyer, and he believes he has life figured out. He's a skier. He wants to be on the ski team. He's in a small town that's a skiing community, and yeah, he's always trying to get on it. But the ski the higher up the jocks, basically, they're just constantly in his way. But he has a cute girlfriend. He's ridiculously in love with her to the point of almost creepiness. And yeah, during the early parts of the film, she dumps him for I believe one of the members of the ski team. I think like the head, the jock on the ski team. And Amanda White, or Weiss, I think it's Weiss, from Nightmare on Elm Street. She played Christy, the poor victim who gets dragged up the wall and murdered. She was also in Silverado, which is not one of my favorite movies, and she was in the first half of season 1 of the Highlander TV series. She's a really, really good actor. I haven't seen her for a while, but yeah, she's great. She plays Beth, the girlfriend who dumps Lane. So this movie is fantastic because the characters in it are brilliant. His best friend is Curtis Armstrong, who was Booger in Revenge of the Nerds. He's great. He's just this guy who's, I think he just spends most of the movie just trying to score drugs, but doesn't know really how to do it. To the point where he realizes that the mountain that they're on is pure snow. Do you know the street value of this? So yeah, he's crazy. You've got lots and lots of actors that you'll recognize from other things, like Vincent Schiavelli, who was the train ghost in Ghost, and a bunch of other movies, and you'll recognize him straight away. You go, oh yeah, that guy. There's like one of the mailmen is played by Milo from The Last Boy Scout. I can't remember that guy's name. I think it's like Taylor Negron or something like that. Haven't seen him in ages, but he was like, oh my God, it's Milo. But yeah, lots of great characters. One of the running gags is two brothers who I can't remember where they say they're from, but basically the two, somewhere in Asia. I can't remember what country they're from. It's really terrible. But one of them doesn't speak any English, and the other one learned English watching The Wild World of Sport, so he sounds like Howard Cosell. and they're just like street races. They just all the time pull up next to the lane and they want to start a race. And then they've got like speakers on the outside of their car, so it's just like, truly a sight to behold. It's just a fantastic running gag. But Lane's parents are fantastic. Like David Organ Steers from MASH, played Charles Winchester III in MASH, plays his father, who's he's not hard on Lane, but he really wants the best for his son, and he's just not too sure what his son's doing with his life. And the mother is just ridiculously adorable, and there's just crazy stuff all the way through it with her cooking is just manic and crazy. There's a bit where she's just got like a pot boiling on the oven. There's tentacles coming out of it, and it's like, what is going on here? But yeah, just a fun movie of a guy who basically thinks after his girlfriend dumps him that his life's over, and occasionally tries to do something to end it, but then at the last second goes, wait, what am I doing? And then stops, and then nearly gets killed anyway. But a very fun movie. The other main plot of it is that the next door neighbor has a exchange student who's from France, and she's ridiculously adorable and beautiful, but she pretends she can't speak English at all, just to keep everyone at arm's length, because the guy, the son living next door is an absolute creep. But yeah, Better Off Dead is just a classic movie. It's a fun sort of romantic comedy, if you will. It's not like a rom-com, but it's a comedy with romantic elements to it. Weird and wonderful characters. There's just so much fun in there, and of course there's the classic paper delivery boy who wants his $2, which is another running gag in a lot of movies and stuff like that. The $2 reference. But Better Off Dead from 1985 is just a fun, silly movie that's around this time of year, so it makes the list. Right, let's grab the Spice Weasel and knock it up a notch. Let's go for some action, shall we? We're going hard and we're going fast with 1987's Lethal Weapon. I know where you thought I was going, but haha. So yeah, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, crazy Gary Busey, absolute classic, amazing sequences, great action, great comedy, great one-liners, and yeah, just absolute badass characters. Like the buddy cops thing has been going since 48 Hours, I suppose. But when it's done right, it's done right. And Lethal Weapon is just like the tippy top of buddy cop stuff. Like Riggs and Murtaugh, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover they just click, even though they're at each other's throats for most of this film. There's just, Riggs is crazy. Danny Glover's on the verge of retirement. He's just turned 50. He's just like, he's too old for this. I don't. Once again, I'm trying not to do spoilers, but I mean, who hasn't seen Lethal Weapon? But if you haven't, go watch Lethal Weapon. It's fantastic. It's a good movie. It's just action done right. It's, as I said, there's the right balance of crazy car chases, shooting, and just one-liners where you just go, yeah, why not? That's awesome. And Mel Gibson does play off-kilter crazy really well, and it's all in his eyes. It's just, you just look at it and go, yeah, he probably is suicidal. The way he plays it is really, really good. And Danny Glover's great because he's a good cop, and he's got a family. He's just like, he doesn't want to really do anything to jeopardize his career or his life. But and then he gets given a partner who's absolutely crazy. But burnout from the drug squad. But yeah, burnout from dope. But yeah, so yeah, I do dust off Lethal Weapon, pretty much annually, but sometimes I might skip it. But yeah, no, I definitely going to be dusting it off this year. Yeah, it's just as I said, it's just a good fun movie. Which, and that sounds crazy because it's got a lot of shooting and a lot of people get killed in it, but it's not done spitefully. It's just one of those action films where you just go, yeah, it's a little lighthearted, and yeah, it's just yeah, I do recommend it. And once again, starts off at Christmas. It's Jingle Bell Rock is the opening piece of music as poor old Amanda Hunsaker takes a dive off a building. But yeah, I thoroughly recommend it. I mean, it's definitely one for this time of year. I mean, you can watch Lethal Weapon 2, 3, and 4 if you wish. At any other time of the year, it doesn't really matter. But Lethal Weapon 1, it's set at Christmas, so it's worth. And there's so much stuff. It's not just trees and stuff like that. There's a bit where Riggs has a gunfight in a Christmas tree lot. There's stuff on television. There's Warner Brothers cartoons that are Christmas related. There's um, bloody Ebenezer Scrooge is on TV at one point. It's like there's everything basically. It is Christmas. There's the cops are doing caroling in the police station house. It's like you can't avoid it. It's like it's everywhere. There's tinsel. There's just trees and lights and stuff like that. And Gary Busey even says "Damn Christmas" as he shoots up the television. But he wants a shot at the title. But yeah, so Mr. Joshua, a really good villain too. Gary Busey's great as the villain. Trying to think who else is in it. It's oh man, it's got a lot of good character actors. Trying to remember the actor who plays General McAllister is I know it's Will Riker's dad from Star Trek: The Next Generation. But yeah, no, Lethal Weapon, great action movie, good Christmas action movie, and it's always on the list. So 1988 has two movies that make the list, and the first one is Scrooged with Bill Murray and Karen Allen and a cast of heaps of people. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really fun story. And just, a modernization of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And there's just so much in it. Bill Murray plays, obviously, the Ebenezer Scrooge character, but Frank Cross. He's a high-ranking executive with a television network. He's on the eve of doing a live action production of A Christmas Carol with a whole bunch of famous people, including Jamie Farr and stuff like that, and that's when the ghosts come to basically tell him that he's being an absolute colossal dick and he's changed his life or else, and it's just, and hilarity ensues, of course, because it's a comedy. That being said, as far as comedies go, there's a lot of heart in it, and there's a lot of moments in it that'll really gut punch you, where you're just like, oh damn. But don't let that dissuade you, because it is a very, very funny film. Some of the other actors in it, like you got John Forsythe, who's just classic. Robert Mitchum, who's just absolutely brilliant. Carol Kane is one of the ghosts. She's always fun. Bobcat Goldthwait is one of the younger executives who Frank Cross screws over early on. Alfre Woodard is Frank's like secretary or assistant, and she's wonderful. John Glover, of course, he's always got to love John Glover. He's just one of those actors that it's just, as soon as you see him in something, you're like, yeah, John Glover. Even if it's something like minor, like RoboCop 2 is the ad campaign for Magnavolt. But yeah, he's fantastic. Some interesting casting. Two of Bill Murray's brothers played his family in the movie, which is really good. John Murray and Brian Doyle Murray both play two of his brothers, which is really, really nicely done. I always like when they do stuff like that. And but yeah, It's very well done because, of course, not only does he have to get knocked down, but he has to hit rock bottom before he can get rebuilt and realize who he is and what he wants. So so that actual journey is really, really well done, and you do feel it. Like you don't feel sorry for him for quite a while, and just every now and then something will happen, and I think the Ghost of Christmas Past says, "Oh, the waterworks are coming," and you sort of see it, and you sort of see why he is the way he is, but it's not an excuse, and yeah, you sort of think, well, you got to get out of that, but fantastically done. Bill Murray's on just firing on all cylinders on it. Bobcat Goldthwait's fantastic. John Forsythe, of course. I think it'd be impossible for him or Robert Mitchum not to do a good job. Um, and of course, Karen Allen, she's always wonderful. So yeah, 1988 Scrooged. I remember seeing it at the cinema with my mum. Loved it. Just laughed all the way through it. It's got a great musical number at the end where Bill Murray breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience, which is just fun, silly stuff. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Love it. And yeah, it's a staple. It's always on the list, and it is legitimately a Christmas movie. So, there's no argument on that. It's just set at Christmas. I'm like, no, this one's legit. So, 1988, movie number two is Die Hard. This one is one that you'll get arguments on for and against. Is this a Christmas movie? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Uh, my answer to that is, if you want it to be, it is. If you don't want it to be, it's not. Who cares? But me, yes, it is. It is set at Christmas. It is a Christmas movie as far as I'm concerned. And of course, now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho. But um, but Die Hard, absolute classic. It's one of the best action movies ever made, hands down. It's like it's very smart. It's well acted. You feel for John McClane as a hero. He doesn't do anything easy, and I mean, hard's in the title, but he doesn't skate through it. He bleeds. He gets shot. He runs across a room of broken glass. He gets hurt badly, but he knows that he has to soldier on, because if he doesn't, his wife and 30 odd hostages are dead. So absolute fantastic heroic character that every time they made a sequel watered him down more and more. So honestly, Die Hard 2 is okay. Die Hard 3 is probably where you just top out because it was actually not too bad. But after that, just I wouldn't worry about them. But Die Hard 1 and 2 are the only ones actually set at Christmas. I'm not going to talk about Die Hard 2 though, but it's one that I dust off every few years. It's not like an annual sort of event. But fantastic cast too. Like everyone is brilliant in this movie. Directed by John McTiernan, who the year before did Predator, and went on to do one of my favorite movies, The Hunt for October, which is not a Christmas movie and not really going to be discussing it, unfortunately. I can always talk about Hunt for October, but yes, but Die Hard. So Bruce Willis is John McClane, New York City cop, basically catching up with his wife, who have been estranged for about 6 months. Um, at a Christmas party, when Hans Gruber, played by the late great Alan Rickman, shows up with a bunch of men and pretend to be terrorists, but secretly want to steal bearer bonds from their vault. Bonnie Bedelia plays Holly Gennaro, John McClane's wife. She's fantastic. She's just really good. She knows what she wants out of life. She knows what she wants from a career, and her husband's not really mature about that. Other great characters in this film is, of course, Sergeant Al Powell, played by Reginald VelJohnson, who's the cop outside, who basically keeps John alive by talking to him over a walkie-talkie, and just keeps him motivated and lets him know that people care, and the cops out there are really rooting for him to succeed. Paul Gleason plays Dwayne T. Robinson. So as I said earlier with Trading Places, Paul Gleason will show up again. He is an absolute bureaucrat cop. It's like he just doesn't care. He's just all about the figures, and yeah, he's really doesn't. He's very very inflexible in the entire scenario. You've got William Atherton, absolute scumbag from Ghostbusters, as Richard Thornburg, Richard Thornburg, who's a reporter who sticks his nose where it shouldn't belong and gets people nearly killed. So yeah, but William Atherton's fantastic. Like a lot of people, he's a character that you love to hate because it's just he's so horrible, and he's like, oh, geez, I just want to punch you so hard in the face. But he's one of those actors that's really good at playing those roles. Like they are needed in movies. Like I know a lot of people go, I don't want to be that guy, but it's like, yeah, but some people can pull it off really well and do it with just gusto. And William Atherton is one of those actors. So really, really good. Yeah, so lots and lots of really good character actors, and yeah, you do really care about everybody all the way through it. So yeah, I like characters that don't just skate through. Like I don't like invulnerable heroes, and Die Hard's fantastic for that because Bruce Willis is definitely not invulnerable. But I mean he suffers not just physically, he does suffer emotionally as well when stuff happens out of his control. When say Alice gets killed or stuff like that, where he's like, it's not his fault, but there's nothing he can do about it. So yeah, it's just a smart action movie. It's, as I said, tippy top of the action movie list. It's probably at least number one or in top three of most people's action movie lists if they do that sort of thing. It's just hard not to like it. As I said, as they made sequels, it watered down, and I mean, even the second movie makes a reference to, like a tongue-in-cheek sort of, how can the same stuff happen to the same guy twice? And it's like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, so yeah, and finally have Die Hard and Lethal Weapon have one of the same actors who plays like one of the baddies in it, who was yeah, so I can't remember the actor's name, and I can't remember what his character was in Die Hard. I know he sneaks a Nestle Crunch bar at one point before the police come in, and he's the guy that tortures Mel Gibson with a car battery. So yeah, he's in like heaps of other movies, like Showdown in Little Tokyo and Big Trouble in Little China and all that. You'll recognize the guy straight away. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. So honestly, Alan Rickman is generally considered as Hans Gruber, of course. Pretty much, he's normally like number two or in the top three of bad guys in movies of all time. And normally Darth Vader sort of edges him out. But Hans Gruber is one of the best villains because he's ridiculously intelligent, he's charming, he's eloquent, and you believe that he's going to pull off everything he says he's going to do because he's motivated. And nothing really seems to bother him. Even when his men are getting killed, he loses the detonators to the explosives. His right-hand man, Carl, is just losing it because his brother's like one of the first victims who gets this written on him. But Hans just is like, no, after we get this, you can hunt him down, but until then, no, calm down. So yeah, absolute consummate professional, and that's what you want out of a villain. You want someone who just, I know what I want, and I know how to get it, and I'm gonna follow each step of the way to do it. So yes, I've been talking about Die Hard way longer than I thought I would. So yes, it's also in my top 10 favorite movies too, Die Hard. I have talked about this movie before, but not as a Christmas film. So that is Die Hard from 1988, Bruce Willis. So we're into 1989 here with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So back to comedy. Now, this is one of those movies that pretty much everyone's going to go, of course, yeah. And it is. It is like an obvious choice, but there's a reason for that. It's funny and it's excellent. And yeah, it's just one of those movies that just I love every year watching it because there's so many silly sequences in it and great dialogue and great insults and just great fun. And like when all the family get together, like there's no real snarkiness or animosity or like that. Like I mean, there's sort of it's it's just you feel sorry for well not sorry, but you feel for Clark as well because you know what he wants. He wants to do. He wants to host a big family Christmas, and it's like his turn, and it's like you sort of feel for him. You're like, yeah, no, I want this to all go well for you. So Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, from basically the previous Vacation and European Vacation, absolutely fantastic. The kids have been recast again. Juliette Lewis plays Audrey in this one, and John is it Galecki, I think it is, from Roseanne and Big Bang Theory later on in life, plays Rusty. You've got who else is in there? I'm just trying to. Oh yeah, Randy Quaid is cousin Eddie, and the neighbors is like Julie Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld's one of the yuppie neighbors who's just horrible people. And another movie with Brian Dor Murray. He plays Clark's boss. He's a bit of a scumbag. But yeah, it's one of those movies where the escalation is quite fun, but you do really feel sorry for Clark, and it's like he's counting on a bonus that they get every year, and the boss decides we're not going to do the bonus this year. So and he's hoping to put in a swimming pool for the family. So he's at a wit's end. Cousin Eddie does something really dumb to try and help out, and hilarity ensues. But aside from the hilarity of the primary plot, there's all this just fun stuff of them going for trying to get a tree, but not going to a lot. They go to dig one out or cut one down. The wonderful scene of Clark putting the Christmas lights and decorations out and shutting down the nuclear power plant with how much power is being used. Them going sledding, things like this. So many just fun sequences in this movie, and as I said, there's fun insults too, like with basically in the corporate part of the movie where Clark's just not happy with the other higher ups and tells him how he feels. But yeah, it's a classic. It's probably on everybody's list, and if not, why isn't it? But I know a lot of people will be going, oh, but why don't you have like Miracle at 34th Street or It's a Wonderful Life? And it's the short answer to that is I don't do those films. I do not really want I love a courtroom drama, but I don't really want a Christmas courtroom drama. And yeah, I mean, It's a Wonderful Life is a heavy movie. It really is beautifully acted, beautifully directed. Jimmy Stewart, but it is a heavy film, and it's not something I want more light stuff. It's not that Die Hard is a light movie, but by comparison, it is. And it's funny too. I was talking to a friend about It's a Wonderful Life, and we were discussing the passing of Kevin Conroy, who played Batman. And I said there's a Christmas episode of Batman early on in the first season, and Robin says to him, "Hey, if we do our tour of duty tonight, and we get home and there's nothing going on, we should watch It's a Wonderful Life on TV." And Batman just looks at him and says, "I've never seen it." And he goes, really? You've never seen It's a Wonderful Life? And he goes, I can't get past the title. And you're like, wow. You're like, you really are messed up, Bruce Wayne. But it's a great line, great sequence, and it's a good Christmas episode too of television. I don't really discuss TV. A lot of TV shows do a Christmas episode, and there's a lot of good ones out there. And I might just drop a few at the end, but regardless, um, it's not. I generally go for lighter films around Christmas time. It's not that I get depressed or anything like that, but a lot of people do, and I think lighter films are probably just better to watch. Just keep you in a good mood, keep you in a feeling good, feel happy for the family, and that if you're fortunate enough to still have family coming around. So yeah, no, but Christmas Vacation, it's a classic, it's a staple. I know it's not a shock for most people. They're like, oh, of course it is, man. Oh, wow. But I'm not, don't assume you're being all snarky at me. But yeah, regardless, it's just a fun film, and I think it should be on everybody's list. So heading back into action, we're going for action of a superhero motif with 1992's Batman Returns, which is flat out a Christmas movie. It's all set at Christmas. There's presents, there's trees, there's all that stuff. Snow everywhere. Gotham is covered in snow, and just mistletoe and all of that jazz. And yeah, I remember seeing this at the cinema. It came out in July, so yeah, I was like, wow, I'm watching a Christmas movie in July. That you know didn't really bother me too much because I really wanted to see it. So I was like, I took it on the chin. Uh, I I have discussed this previously and in not in a heck of a lot of detail, but when the 1989 Batman movie was set to come out, I was not interested at all. I was in grade 9. I was 14 years old. I thought I knew everything about everything because I was a teenager, and of course we do when you're a teenager. You're just so intelligent. And I was a comic nerd. Well, I'm still a comic nerd, but I was one of the few ones that was out and about of being a comic nerd at school. I did not care who knew. I was like, yeah, I read comic books. I don't care. I also read books and I play sports, so I deal with it. So people, I didn't get a lot of hassle from people because I'm a big guy, and I played sport and I got involved in pretty much everything at my my high school because when you're a boarder at a high school where and there's not much else to do, it's like, well, what's on? Let's do it. Let's get involved. So I was one of those people that got involved with everything. But yeah, I was not happy with the idea that Beetlejuice was going to be Batman, and there was no internet back then, and all I could do is read the newspaper because we used to get the newspapers at the library, and I would go straight to the movie section. I'd read everything I could on this, and I was grinding my teeth, going, "What is going on here?" They're paying like Jack Nicholson $11 million to play the Joker, and then I found out years later that he got a percentage as well. He got paid probably $60 million to play that. And Michael Keaton's getting $1 million. I'm like, well, that just shows that they don't have a lot of faith in him. And I didn't realize that years earlier the same sort of thing happened with Christopher Reeve. He got a small paycheck compared to um, Gene Hackman and of course Marlon Brando. But anyway, I was being a petulant child, and I did not see Batman until its last weekend, and my mother was the reason I saw it. She basically said, "Hey, let's go to the movies," and I was like, "Cool, what's on?" She went, "Well, Batman's still playing," and I'm like, "I don't want to see that." And I was still digging my heels in, going, "No, I'm not going to do it." She said, We should go see it. I think you're going to regret it if you don't see it." And my mother is wise. She was a wise woman, and she was correct. I went and saw it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like, wow, was I a colossal dick? And was I absolutely wrong? And the answer is yes on both counts. So that was the point in my life where I went, all right, I'm never going to judge an actor for a role until I see it. So every time there's been a new Batman, a lot of people just go, yeah, I don't like Ben Affleck. I don't like Twilight guy. I don't like Robert Pattinson. I know I felt like saying Twilight guy. I don't like Christian Bale. I don't like bloody whoever. And the thing is that once people see them, they generally go, oh yeah, Robert Pattinson's really good. Like, and the thing is, like, I was one of those people going, yeah, he's gonna be good. He's a good actor. It's like, he's not Twilight guy. He's just a guy who took a paycheck for 4 movies. Leave him alone. But anyway, getting back to it, I'm just laying some foundation here. So when Batman Returns was coming out, I was like, first weekend, I caught the bus into the city, went to the Greater Union Forum, which doesn't exist anymore. Just like none of the theaters really exist anymore because it's just depressing. Um, had my cup of soft drink, which had the Batman sort of motif on it because they used to do that back in the day, and a big thing of popcorn, and I sat there and I watched Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, Christopher Walken, of course. Just pull off a really good sequel. I don't think it's better than the first movie. I think the first movie is pretty damn bulletproof. But Batman Returns is a good movie. I'm not a fan of the Penguin interpretation, though. That's just Tim Burton being weird. But I got nothing against Danny DeVito. I mean, if Danny DeVito just played him like they played him in the Robert Pattinson one, where he's just like, I run a casino. Cool. He's just a weird, fat dude with a pointy nose, like Burgess Meredith played him. Like, wah, wah, wah. I mean, I'd been fine with that, but making him like a freak was like, yeah, I don't need that. But it is very villain heavy because you do have Max Schreck, played by Christopher Walken, who just chews the scenery up. Every scene he's in, it's just, you just go, wow, he's so good. And Pfeiffer's fantastic as Selena Kyle. She's just brilliant. She's really good. So yeah, it's just a good film. It's set at Christmas. It's a superhero movie or a hero movie. If you're one of these people going, Batman doesn't have powers. He's not a superhero. Okay, fine. Okay. He's got a cool car though, and he's got Alfred, and he's got Commissioner Gordon and all that. But yeah, so good sequel, and yeah, so I was all in with Batman Returns when it came out, and I really really liked it. I didn't go crazy into the trading cards like I did with the 89 one after I finally got to see the 89 one. I was like, must buy all merchandise. Um, but still, I really, really enjoyed it. And it's not one that I watch all the time, but I did watch it last year and I'm going to watch it this year, and I have upgraded to a 4K copy of it. I watched the 4K 1989 one about a month ago, and it really is pretty. So I'm going to be dusting off. It's brand new, but I'm going to test the 4K version of Batman Returns and the 4K version of Die Hard too. I'm not being I've got 4K. It's just I'm late to the party on 4K, but I'm also one of those people that I don't replace my television until it really needs replacing, and so yeah, it was one of those things. Where it was like, all right, now I need to replace it. But yeah, Batman Returns, 1992, good sequel. Good. Michael Keaton's fantastic in it. He's great as Bruce Wayne. He's really good as Batman. And yeah, all the bit players are back. Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon doesn't get to do much, but he's there. Alfred Gough as Alfred Pennyworth. He's great as Alfred. He's just such a solid. I mean, he's the only. Well, he and Pat Hingle were the only through line through the other two movies, Forever and Batman and Robin, to basically remind people that it's the same character in the same universe. I think they could have avoided that, but Alfred Gough's brilliant as Alfred Pennyworth. He's so good. You sort of see that, yeah, he does care for Bruce. It's not just like it's my job as the butler, I bottle. It's like, no, he is family. So yeah, absolutely fun movie, and yeah, once again on the list. jumping forward a decade to 2002, and we've got Friday After Next. So Ice Cube is back, and with the third of the Friday movies, and this one is a flat out, straight up Christmas film. So yeah, Craig and D-Day are back, and their life gets really, really complicated in this as a guy dressed as Santa Claus breaks into their apartment and basically makes off with all their presents. And to compound their woes of Christmas, their horrible landlady is like saying, "You're behind on the rent. You better pay it, or you're kicked out." I don't care. It's Christmas. Meh. So yeah, it's basically just magnificent cast. Everybody's in it. Terry Crews is in there. Clifton Powell's in there. Just lots and lots of people you recognize from stuff. Funny movie, absolutely funny. I mean, if you're a fan of Friday and Next Friday, and you haven't watched Friday After Next, why? Why haven't you? You need to watch it. But I can understand if you go, well, it's a Christmas movie. I'm going to watch it now because it's Christmas time. And you go, okay, good excuse. I love your work. But yeah, it's one of those movies where it's just there's a lot going on. There's a lot of as I said, there's a lot of woe, and it's Christmas, and they're all compounded by how are we gonna get presents back? Are we gonna find the guy who did it? The police are less than enthused to help, and like how do we find these guys? And there's parties happening and stuff like that. But just absolutely silly fun. And Ice Cube's, Craig's the same. He's still like living life and basically holding on. But he has plans. He has stuff he wants to do. But yeah, like it is really a gut punch for him, this film, because it's like it's Christmas and we got no presents, and we're being threatened with eviction, and so much happening. And but yeah, so it's just, it's a good fun movie. It's silly. Ice Cube's fantastic. He's always good. I've always liked Ice Cube as not just his music but his acting as well. He's just fun in that. I mean, he plays like a angry guy very well, but he also plays just just kind of charming and relaxed really well as well. So it's like he's just good at what he does. But I do like his threatening voice, and I can't remember who did it. One of the late night guys did a thing with Ice Cube where it's like, read nice statements but in your threatening voice, and it's just, it is hilarious when he does stuff like that. But Friday After Next, it's a fun movie. It's, as I said, you got Craig and D-Day back. They're great. They're always great. So yeah, unlike, as I said, unlike Friday and Next Friday, it is flat out Christmas movie. It is set at Christmas, and everything revolves around Christmas. So full on Christmas movie, no arguments. But I do recommend it. It's good fun stuff. If you're, as I said, if you're a fan of the first two, haven't seen it, check it out. It is really good. But yeah, so Friday After Next from 2002. So the last movie on this list is 2018's Christmas Chronicles. And I'm not going to go into really any great detail on this because it's not that old, and I do think everyone should watch this. I think it was on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure. I'm fairly certain it was a Netflix film. Has Kurt Russell playing Santa Claus, and it is magnificent. It's really, really fun. It's like the other movies on this list don't really have anything to do with Santa Claus at all, other than the fact that it's like, it's a Christmas movie and there's a mall Santa, or someone's dressed as Santa stealing presents, or Dan Aykroyd is dressed as Santa. It's like, aside from that, this is one where Santa is actually front and center and magical and stuff like that. Absolutely fun movie, really good. It's got a lot of heart in it. It's got a lot of some sadness in it. It's basically about a family who's the father, he was a firefighter, he died. The son has lost his Christmas spirit, so he's doing like stealing cars and things like that. His younger sister she still believes, but she's trying to get her brother to stop, being a punk, and sort of tapes him stealing a car and threatens to, dob him in if he doesn't stop. And yeah, sort of, it's one of those sort of movies that sort of happens over a night. And, basically Santa is there to kind of give them back their spirit and their wonder and whimsy and stuff like that, while also sort of been separated from his powers. So it's a very fun movie, just with Kurt Russell's ridiculously charming in everything, whether he's Snake Plissken or Jack Burton or Santa Claus or or Todd from Soldier. It's like he's just always great. I just one of those actors that I always like him and stuff. And I didn't watch this movie initially. I think I watched it last year for the first time, so it had been out for a couple of years. There is a sequel to it. It's not bad. It's not as good, but it's not bad. I don't know if they're going to do a third one or not, but yeah, it's just a fun, nice film. It's like one of those movies where you just like, I just want to watch a Christmas movie. This is just a nice film. And now there's no gunfire. There's no terrorists. No one's getting shot. No one's ripping anyone off for, Christmas presents. Um, you know, I know the other like 9 or the other 8 movies on this list have been like, there's a bunch of people getting punched and shot at and, Batmobiled and set on fire and whatever. But it's all in good fun. But this movie is the one that is the on the list where it's like, this is just a nice film. It's got a lot going for it. As I said, Kurt Russell is ridiculously charming and fun as Santa Claus, and I don't, as I said, I don't really want to spoil it. I don't really want to go into any major details on this because by comparison to the other movies, it is very new. Even though it's like 4 years old, but I mean, by comparison, it's still very new. So if you haven't seen it, I think it's probably still on Netflix. I'm fairly certain it is. Check it out. It's really, really fun. And it's yeah, as I said, it's a good family one. It's really, it's low rating. It's not like rated M or MA or anything like that. I think it's a PG film. But yeah, it's got a lot going for it. It really does. As I said, there is a second one. If you liked it and you want to watch the second one, go watch the second one as well. I didn't like the second one as much, but it's still very good. But I think the first one is pretty damn near perfect. But it's got everything you want in a Christmas movie. It's got that whole. It's got all. I don't like using the term schmaltz because it sounds like it's a negative connotation to it, but I don't mean it in a negative sense. It's got that. It's just got that feelings, those feelings where you just go, oh, that's nice. And yeah, as I said, there's no terrorists and gunfire and supervillains and stuff like that. It's just Kurt Russell is Santa Claus, and he's just trying to give a couple of kids back their Christmas spirit after having a rough year of losing their dad. So yeah, just a nice little film, and it's the last one on my list. And I know this video is going to be pretty long because there's 9 movies here, but and I've talked a bit about it, and I think I talked more about Die Hard than I expected to. Sorry about that if I bored you. Hopefully I haven't bored you. Hopefully you have been happy with my laundry list of films, and if they're ones that you haven't seen or you don't normally see, you might be interested in watching them. Hopefully I've done a good job talking them up. But with that, I'm gonna sign off, and I'm not too sure what the next video will be, but this will be will I be able to get another one out before Christmas? Let me have a look. No, because this is the 18th. So and the next Sunday is the 25th. So this will be my last one of my last uploads for this year. I'm going to do a live stream, probably maybe Thursday the 22nd, and it'll be about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Australia. And basically we're going to talk about it'll be either the 22nd or it'll be the 15th, one of the two. I haven't quite worked that out yet, but we will. I'm going to have my friend Brad, who went to high school together. We're going to talk about movies based on novels that are really good, and have you seen them? But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yes, so this will be my last upload for the year, and the next one I may get one up on New Year's Day, depending on how busy I am beforehand. I mean, I do pre-record these ahead of time, so I could possibly put one up on Christmas Day, but I wouldn't expect any of you to watch it because you should be doing Christmas stuff with your family. Tisk tisk. So yes, didn't mean to be so brutal there, but yes, it may be the last upload for the year. It may not, and there could be a live stream in between this video and Christmas. We'll see, and it comes down to how busy Brad is over Christmas, because he's a busy guy too. So that being, I keep saying that being said, I didn't realize I say that so many times, but sorry about that. Either way, if I don't get another video up before Christmas, I hope everyone has a happy Christmas and holidays, and with you and your families, and hopefully I have kept you entertained in these few videos that I've put up so far, and I plan to do many more in the new year. And but yes, as I said, keep reading, keep watching, keep listening to stuff, and yeah, have a good week and a good holiday, and a good new year. So with that, I'm going to sign off and hope everyone has a good week. And yeah, as I say, keep on reading, keep on watching, keep on listening to stuff. And yeah, I will see you in the next video.
More updates. Damn the man! Save the Empire!